Good morning, good afternoon, good night to whatever time that you may be watching. Welcome back to another episode of the Daily Dollar Digest, sponsored by Full Sail University. I am your host, William Bush, aka DollaBill, and I have a special guest with me tonight, the Eagle Eye himself, Coach Bill Serna. Coach, how you doing tonight, man?
Man, that's good. It's a good night. The weather's finally calming down and it's a little bit cooler, so no, it's best time of the year.
Oh yeah, fall season is truly the best season, if I do say so
No,
myself.
absolutely. It's
Now,
holidays and everything else. So,
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Holidays are getting in full swing and in full effect. I had the pleasure of meeting you a couple of months ago and working with you as we call these sexy high school football games. I didn't know that you were so cool. You're a very humble guy. You
yeah, I
have
don't
a
know
lot of
how cool I am, but many years ago, Sonny Clark named me. He made the quote, "You're kind of a big deal," and we kind of ran with it, just tongue in cheek. But we've been doing it ever since.
yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Now, being that you have had so much time in coaching experience over the
Mhm.
years now, you being an indoor football league coach, what is the main difference between the indoor football league and the NFL?
Well, for the fan side of it, it's the total experience because it's indoor football is kind of like I always compare it to football and hockey because you're
Mhm.
playing inside of a hockey rink. The size there's no out of bounds, so there's only walls. It's half the size of a regular football field. So there's some elements of the game that are a lot different than the outdoor game. There's no punting. As you only have 8 on each side of the ball. You have forward motion on your receivers. So there's some things that are different than what you see in regular football. But for the fan experience, it's a lot different because you're right on top of the game.
Right.
You sit in the front row, right in the stands, right next to the field on the padding, and so there's a lot of interaction with players and stuff. Where unlike a traditional football, you're kind of spread out. Here, you're right on top of it, so it's a whole different experience on the fan side of it. And then for the coaching side of it, it's definitely a different sport. Obviously it's football, so you have a lot of the same things, but there's still a lot of things that are a lot different.
Understandable for sure. Now, being an active coach for you, you've
Mhm,
been coaching for 15 plus years.
mhm.
So how did you get your start in the field of coaching?
Well, and it's funny because I was never the big football player. I was actually a baseball player growing up. That was
Mm,
my sport. But originally come from Arizona, I started going to Arizona Rattler games from the AFL. And Danny White, who used to be a Dallas Cowboys quarterback, he was the coach of the team. They had a lot of players out there that were local players. I just got into talking to Danny White it actually happened during one of the games. Something happened on the field that I caught before anybody else did, and we just struck up a conversation, and it just started that way. And they used to practice in a facility close to where I live, so I just started going and getting involved. And when I moved to Texas is when I really, I jumped on with the team called the Allen Wranglers,
mhm.
which turned into the Texas Revolution, and got started that way.
Okay.
Mhm,
Wow. And you spoke about Coach Danny White,
mhm,
the former Cowboy player,
mhm.
very underrated, if I do say so myself. And he coached for the Arizona Rattlers,
Mhm.
as you mentioned. But who are some of the coaches that you might have taken a thing or two and integrated into your own coaching style?
Well, it started with him, but just growing up, and like I said, being a baseball player, in different style of coaching, but um, just in my regular life and my regular job that I have in my profession, I was in that management role. I was in that, as you could say, a coaching role that really uh, taught me how to teach people how to develop, and I
Right.
took that into my coaching. Billy Back was a good friend of mine that I got into with coaching here in Texas, and he got me into it, into coaching more. And he said he threw me to the fire a little bit. Said, "Look it." whatever you say, make it believable, and you work that way, and that's what I did. So I started, just feeling confident in the way I was doing things, and I kept my eyes open, my ears open, and just learned how to learn the sport, and I feel like I've become really comfortable with it now.
Yeah, that's great, coach. Being able to take a little bit of here, a little bit of there, integrating into your own style and making it your own. I like that. I like that a lot.
Absolutely.
And coach, you made note of the Texas Revolution earlier, and that was actually your first stop in the IFL, and you were fortunate enough to be a part of that championship team that they had over there. What was that experience like?
Well, and you know what, I was there for when the team started, so just to see the development of it, and being in here, Alan being in the DFW area, one thing we focus on is local talent, where a lot of teams they'll get talent, they'll search and whatnot. Where we wanted to focus on local talent because we just felt there's so much here. So to be able to get to that championship, win that championship, it was just a thrill. It was my first one, and I'll never forget it. And I got the ring that sits next to my bed that always reminds me of those days. But the biggest thing for me is obviously you love winning a championship, but just to watch those men enjoy it, and the guys that we can get them to that level to win that championship. There were some wonderful guys on that team that are now, some are becoming coaches themselves, and moving on after their playing days. So it's a great once in a lifetime that you can do, and when you can do it more, then that's even that more exciting.
Okay. Now, coach, you said that was an experience that you would never forget.
No,
So,
never
what
will.
what was your favorite memory from that experience?
You know what? I think the biggest thing is just watching not only the players celebrate it, but just the fans. Because as I mentioned, with arena football, you're very engaged with the fans, and to see their thrill about it, and see them jump up and down, and just enjoy the game, and things like that. So, like I said, it's great to win. It's great to hold that trophy. But I've just always been, even with my children, I want to see the excitement from them. It's almost like Christmas morning when you win a championship, because you just see all the excitement and the thrill, and all the hugs that you get. So it's well worth it.
Definitely, definitely. Now, you coach, you had some stops in
Mhm.
Spokane, Washington, going over to coach for the Shock, and a couple other places prior to transitioning to the Frisco Fighters of the IFL.
Mhm.
What led you to coaching over in Frisco?
Well, you're kind of right. I went from coast to coast because I followed Billy back. Wichita Falls. We had a team out there. I followed him there, and unfortunately, that team folded. We had an opportunity to go to the NAL in North Carolina, in Greensboro. Open up a new franchise up there, so it gave me an opportunity to go to the East Coast, and enjoy it there. First year we were there, we won a championship there, and after a couple years, had an opportunity to go to Spokane, and with Sam Adams, who used to play at A&M, and with the Baltimore Ravens for
Right.
many years. And he was opening, he was redoing the franchise up there, which had such a history up there with that area. So I took that opportunity, went there for a couple years. Unfortunately, that was during the COVID year, so we lost one of those years, and went up there. And then, but this whole time living here in the McKinney Frisco area,
Mhm.
uh, had an opportunity to got an offer to coach here in Frisco, and it put me in my own backyard and be able to be here locally.
That's awesome. Just being able to not have to travel too far outside of your comfort zone, but still being able to coach those guys right in your neighborhood, right in your backyard. I know that has to be a blessing for sure, coach.
Yeah,
Now,
1,600 miles commute to a 7 mile commute was well worth it.
oh yeah, most definitely, most definitely. Can't get any easier than that, to
Mm-mm.
be honest. Now, October 16th, last week, it was made official that the fighters actually won't be taking the field for the 2025 season. Why won't we be seeing the Frisco Fighters in action this year?
Well, the owners of the team aren't local. They're based out of Ohio. Their goal was that they wanted to start the franchise, open it up, They went 4 years into the franchise. They wanted to sell the team. They
Mm.
wanted to find a local buyer and somebody, and that way they can go on to their next venture and do something closer to them. They just couldn't get a buyer.
Mm.
They had many of opportunities, so they haven't folded. They've just decided to go dormant this year and try to have more time to find a buyer because we've established such a fan base here in Frisco, and it's been really exciting. So, yeah, it was kind of disappointing news for all of us for that to get to that point. But I think if we can keep the name fresh, hopefully they can get a buyer this next year. We can be back in 2025 or
Most
2026. Excuse me.
Most definitely, most definitely. Now, since we won't be seeing the fighters participate in this upcoming season, what can we expect to see from Coach Bill Serna going forward in the future?
Well, I just signed a contract with Tulsa Oilers, which is in the IFL. They were actually our big rival here in Frisco. So I'm going to be taking my coaching up there and joining Marvin Jones, which is a NFL player. But he brought me on board, and he also brought the head coach as his assistant head coach and offensive coordinator, Andre Cole. So the two of us are going to go up there, and we feel confident we're going to make help bring some more wins up there and get us into the playoffs. And I mean, the fans are already embracing up there for us, so we're really excited. They're a organization that gets 13, 14,000 people to every game. So we're really looking forward to getting in that environment and doing what we've been good at doing.
Coach, what are your expectations this upcoming season for your Tulsa team?
Well, I think the biggest thing is get to the playoffs. That team's never been in the playoffs before, so we have a goal and expectation minimal to get in the playoffs, and then from there, it's what can we do in the playoffs. One thing we've seen in the Arena Football League is being a number one seed and being a number eight seed doesn't. Doesn't make that much of a difference. We've seen a lot of 6, 7, and 8 seeds make the championship game. So our first goal is let's get in the playoffs. We've got the support of that city there because that's one of the only big professional teams that are there in the Tulsa area, and just jump on the wave and let's see how far it takes us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. One game at a time, one step at a time, and it definitely it's got to feel good to know that you guys have the whole city, the whole town backing you and supporting you guys all the way for sure.
Yeah, and nothing on Frisco, but here in the Metroplex, there's just so much going on. It's really hard to get a huge fan base in a short period of time here because there's so much things going on. Frisco's a sports capital of the world. It seems like because everything is new here, and it takes time and work to really get that brand out there and get that name. Where in Tulsa, as soon as it opened up, all TV stations were involved, radio stations were involved, and it was a big discussion. And it took off right off the bat. It's like I said, I don't think they ever were under 10,000 fans at a game this year. Where here in Frisco, we would get 3 to 4,000 a game. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah, definitely a big change when it comes to going up there.
Well, Coach, man, I do appreciate your time that you took out of your day, your busy day that I already know that you have, man, to come out and do this interview with me. Good luck and best of luck this upcoming season to yourself and your Tulsa Oilers as you guys tackle this upcoming indoor IFL football season. Coach, hey, look, I'll see you on Friday, but
Hey,
I appreciate you again. It's been
Bill,
real.
uh, DollaBill, what? I'm always available for you, man. I'll always jump on and talk with you. So you got me in your back pocket, buddy.
Yes, sir. And I appreciate you there, man. Well, I appreciate the time that you have, and I appreciate you guys for sticking it out with me on yet another episode of 3D. I will see you again next time. Peace.